No matter how small the audience is, the one that actually keeps me going, because it is hard when you're constantly making stuff and one thing gets 800,000 views and the other thing gets 52 views and you're like, what's going on here? It's the concept that 1 is greater than 0. Somebody is watching and you don't know who that person is. That person could be the producer of your next film. So just really sticking with it. And engaging is also a huge thing. So no matter how small your audience is, if you are talking with them and if there's comments coming in and you're replying to them, like, get a relationship going with your audience, because that's who's going to continue to be fans. Once you find your path, sticking with that and not worrying about how the process goes is a huge thing. So not worrying, like, as I said, it may lead you in a different way that you didn't even think about, and just being open to going with it. Who here knows on YouTube Casey Neistat? He's one of the biggest YouTubers. His huge kind of piece of advice is just 3 words. It's just keep uploading. Just keep at it and you'll find your audience. Consistency is huge. And really you gotta open up. Like he said, be yourself, really let your emotion come out. Like lead with your heart on your sleeve. Because that's how people really connect with you emotionally and see the kind of humanity within you.
So the big question is this: how are creators like us, who aren't built for the 9-to-5, for the people who put their passion before them being comfortable, how do we turn that passion into a living that pays the bills and a life that we love? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. My name is Noah Mittman, and welcome to Conversations with Creators.
What's up, everybody? My name is Joshua Palmer. Thank you for attending our panel on short form media and going viral. A little bit about me to start off. I'm a student at the Art Institute of Colorado. I'll be graduating here in December. I also work locally here on independent films, commercials, a lot of reality TV, stuff like that, and do corporate videos and YouTube stuff. So that's kind of me. For right now, we're going to teach you guys, or try to teach you guys, on how to make a good social media panel or video. We got a couple different experts here from a couple different types of short form media. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to kick it off. We got Noah Mittman.
Yeah.
He specializes in kind of adventure, parkour, breakdancing, fluid arts videos.
Yeah, liquid arts.
We got Alexander Pimentel.
Yes. It's the first time we're all meeting today.
First time we've all met. Well, me and Alexander know each other. Alexander is a local independent filmmaker who got his start in social media, stuff like that, and he's won some awards, and he used that to transfer into becoming an independent making feature films. And then we have Nancy Fingerhood. She has a show called Mile High Nancy. Pretty funny. I would recommend checking it out. She's also a local comic, stand-up comedian. She's done a lot of that. She's also won some stuff. And why do you think people should use social media, make videos for social media?
So in my opinion, I think that a lot of what's happening right now in cinema is changing. As we know it, for a very long time, cinema was about going to the theaters. We saw motion picture as something that was a place where we came as a community to one spot to enjoy films and moving images, and that's changing now since we have the internet, we have social media, we have YouTube, we have Vimeo. We now have several outlets on the television, from Apple TV to Amazon Fire TV, and that's opening up a whole world for folks to tell their story, to show people things in the world, to entertain us and make us laugh, to express ourselves. And that's why we should utilize this new form of media, short form media, whether it is you're showing short films or comedies or a vlog. We now have that option to connect all around the world and tell about ourselves. And that's a big change that we've seen in our world, because we had the telephone and I could call Kyle whenever I wanted to, or I could call my mom and dad when I was while I was deployed. But now it's advanced to a point to where now we can express things visually and show people. We could speak to people in China and in Europe, and doing that is something that humanity now has at their fingertips. and we should utilize that.
Absolutely.
If I could, so just when he was talking about being polite and showing videos to his mom and dad, this is more personal level, I guess, but I've also created video biographies for people so that you can interview your grandparents and pass that video on to future generations, like capture the stories of your loved ones with photos interspersed. So I've done that as well on a professional level, for clients. But you can share that on YouTube with people. Say you have family members living in Australia, you can share that now on a private link. But as far as it's great for businesses, people want to see videos now. But again, on a personal level, if you are a creative person, putting your stories into video form is very rewarding. When I have an idea, and I'm like, I kind of map it out in my brain, and then I'm like, well, I can put that on video. It's just to see your story come to life is, it's just an amazing thing to see. And there's a lot of options now. There's Funny or Die, if you're into comedy, it's not just YouTube, so.
Well, and in general on that too, talking about businesses and reaching people, I have some statistics for you guys. So 70% of the top 100 search results on any subject are video. That's what you see. If you want to fix something on your car, YouTube can teach you. So video is everywhere. And in terms of running a business, customers are 85% more likely to actually purchase something of yours if you have a video attached to it. So it's super, super powerful in terms of reaching and making something.
I just want to say something about how fast we have evolved. She said about Funny or Die, my first short film, The Incredible Thug, that went viral on YouTube, was actually put on Funny or Die when Funny or Die was in beta.
Nice.
Wow.
And that was in 2009.
That's like back in Pearl stage, right?
Yeah, ancient YouTube.
For kids, beta is like I don't know, I don't even use it.
Testing.
Yeah, it's old.
It wasn't even a public company at all. It was just an idea.
That's how fast stuff moves too. It's incredibly fast, just like everything else.
And now Will Ferrell's on it.
Yeah. Same stuff.
Well, he founded it.
All right. So a big part about doing social media and getting a fan base, you have to find your niche, and then you have to develop your niche. I personally believe everybody in this room has their own niche. You may not have found it yet. Maybe you haven't looked for it yet, but you do have a niche. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you find your niche in life. If you're wanting to go viral, if you're wanting to start social media, then how you go ahead and develop your niche once you figure it out. So with this one, let's go ahead and let Noah kick this one off.
I think it's pretty simple actually. It kind of boils down to one word in terms of finding what you want to be doing, which is your passion. Whether you're able to do that more often or if it's just something that you're doing on weekends, if you have a job, find your passion and then start engaging in that space and just outwork everyone else. Just keep at it. So just passion is the real thing to find it.
He said passion, and I think for me the key word here would be patience. Mm-hmm. It's something that I'm still learning today. And patience is not thinking that just because it doesn't happen tomorrow, that it's not going to happen. Before I even made my first feature film, I was about 5 years into making short films. I had my short film shown at LA County Museum of Art. I was on Funny or Die. I was on a ton of sites. I went viral on Vimeo. I was up for a staff pick. And at points, it's going to seem like this has been going on forever. I've been doing this, and who's going to notice? And eventually, you're going to get an opportunity, but you have to show those people that are going to give you an opportunity that you're persistent, that you have the patience. And the other thing to think about is when you start out, no one starts out perfect. Tiger Woods didn't start out perfect. Kobe Bryant didn't start out perfect. It takes time. You grow. On my feature films alone, I started out with my buddy Nick, and we started out with designs, and he wants to be a designer. And we went from what lamp looks good in this shot to making a fully motion and speaking robot in our current film, completely designed by Nick from concept art forward, and that was an evolution of just 3 years of learning how to work with each other. So my key thing about doing what you love is patience.
I think those two go hand in hand real fast too, like hard work and patience. If you do those two, they're super different from each other, but it's really a balance of them that actually makes success. And those light bulbs moments happen just through the process. You're just like, this would be cool. Actually, that's a great idea. I'm going to pursue that.
And in today's society, you have about 8 seconds, your first 8 seconds to capture someone's attention on your video, or they're just going to skip and move on to the next one.
So you really have to capture the audience's attention right away. So within the first 8 to 10 seconds, something big has to happen. Like, just, maybe a bomb, I don't know, but just something happens. The feature length film, you have up to 10 minutes to really get into something big. Whereas, this 4 to 7 minutes, like 10 seconds, that's it, or you've lost them. And so, but going to comedy, I found it's quick cuts. So basically it's, someone says their line and you get right to that next line from the other actor or actress. If it's a joke, it's, pairing that like really fast, like no, like I said, long pauses or just kind of, I've seen videos where there's empty space, like someone leaves in for 5, 6, 7 seconds an empty hallway in their video, and it's like, okay, just take that out. There's also shoe leather, like, walking from point A to point B. You don't need to film unless something, big is happening when you're getting from point A to point B, but otherwise just cut to where that person is in the room now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need all the extra space in there.
Alexander, if you want to go off of that.
Yeah, of course.
And kind of how do you apply that to making trailers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, with trailers and even feature films, she said you have the first 10 minutes, but at the same time, you've got that initial reaction. That opening image, no matter what, is very important in film and short films, in trying to sell you a Coca-Cola. You guys want to know why is that Coca-Cola so good? Why am I going to sit here for 2 hours and watch Alex's movie? That to me, I agree with the cutting. Cutting is a huge part, and I think that's kind of more on the side of what you're doing, especially as a person who's creating. But in terms of impact, I think it's about what you're saying. Even if it's a fast image or even if it's a long image, I think it's key to understand what it is you're conveying to your audience, and that's for any form of media. And think about the opening image of the directive. What's this movie about? It's about a boy and a robot, and they're traveling. The opening image is a boy and a robot on his back, and he's traveling. And it does matter how long it plays in the retrospect, but at the same time, it's the fact that it impacted in a certain way, and what is it that you're saying. If it was just him screaming about drinking a Coca-Cola, then you guys think that this is a Coca-Cola commercial, not about a boy and a robot. So you do have to think about what it is you're conveying in your images, and to me, that's what short form media, long form media, advertisement, that's what it all is.
Yeah, there's actually an interesting kind of trend going on with movie trailers currently on Facebook, which is before you have your classic, the title of the movie or whatever, they show about 5 seconds of just insane action or something crazy or a joke happening. Grabs you right away, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'll sit down and watch this. So that's one of the tactics that big studios use. For me, if it's the quick cutting, I actually like to talk about that because that's very specifically, I think, web-based. Like the vlogging style, the kind of, you don't get into, if your features, if it's the style of it, you can definitely, but I think really more with short form is where the fat's totally trimmed off and it's very quick cut because that's kind of the culture that we're in, is just get to the point. With anything though, say you have a 5-minute video, you just still need to tell a story, and that's really what's going to keep people there, is telling a good story. So beginning, middle, end, whether it's, say you do a 5-minute video, you do a 2-minute, 2-minute beginning, 2-minute middle, 1-minute end, you have to be able to work within the medium that you're doing.
And so finding your niche, you kind of have to find an audience that goes with your niche. Like in my stand-up comedy, it's not for everybody. I learned that You have to find a specific group, a specific crowd that wants to hear that. So it's a little bit different when you're doing web-based video. So if you guys want to talk about how you find your audience or how you get it out there and kind of develop that audience.
Sure. Who wants to start?
Nancy?
So one of the things you can do is find, if say your niche is dancing, finding bloggers and influential leaders in that area and sharing your videos with those people. Because if, say you have a blogger or a vlogger who is, has 1 million subscribers and they like your video, then, and you ask them to share it, perhaps they will. And then you just kind of go off of their fame. There's also, if you're into shopping, a lot of, like a big thing now is haul videos, and that's where it's really popular with like teenage girls. Shopping porn, kind of like they bring home products from wherever, Macy's, I don't know, and they bring it home and they open it up out of the box, and I just got this new pink lipstick, or nail polish, whatever, and so many people get caught up into that. So haul videos, what they're called, if that's what you're into, you can find other haul video bloggers that are really popular and share it and get in touch with them. So I mean, that's one way. And then there's, for comedy, various sites like Funny or Die, the Comedy Minute. There's also Vimeo, which is all types of videos, but a lot of comedy as well. And just finding websites where you can share your video, not just on YouTube. So that's the way, I think.
Yeah, sure. The one thing I like about this panel here is that everyone is very specific into what they're talking about. And I think that goes back into finding your niche, kind of. It all is really tying together really well. When you find that niche and you find what's specific, it's hard to figure out, well, how now am I going to generate this sort of community around what I'm doing? And it's difficult. Narrative storytelling has been around for over 100 years. So I came into cinema not only learning how do you make a film, how do you tell a story, how do you go beginning, middle, and end, but then you have this whole other world that's kind of the business side of it, which is generating a population of people that want to see your work. And I think what we're seeing right now in the industry is something very interesting, because you have Hollywood, and then you have Netflix and Hulu, you have Vimeo on demand, you have Amazon Fire TV, you have Apple TV, and you have folks now that can get distributed on multiple platforms or one platform. And I think it's kind of finding what works for you and finding who it is you are. And I think sometimes in storytelling you get caught up in the popularity of it, and it's people will tell you that you need to be this or you need to be that. And I think it's staying true to who you are. And when you are who you are, people will find that interesting. And slowly but surely, on Vimeo I went viral. I have over 800,000 views on my short film Life Lessons. But then I found that it seemed like a lot of buzz, but there wasn't really a buzz. It took time. That it was a time-based thing to generate all those views. And then when you look at the statistics, you see that you're being viewed in countries that you weren't too aware would be interested in what you're doing. I had a lot of views coming from Europe and India and China, places, and it wasn't that much of a large American audience. And that's because my stuff is on the lower end scale of budget. And then you begin to ask yourself, well, is that okay? Is there something wrong with that? Am I not? Why are Americans not watching my films? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's no rule book that says that I have to be great in an American audience. But I received an email from my short film Artifact. It was a sci-fi with someone asking me to make them a full action figure set that they want on their wall.
That's awesome.
And that was in London. And there would have never been that connection without the internet, and it's how it's all tied together with being able to reach people all over the world. And I think it's staying true to who you are. Yes, there's politics to it, obviously, but your audience is going to be there if you know who you are and what it is you're trying to say.
Hey friends, it's your podcast buddy Noah Midman here, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about one of my passion projects, my clothing brand, Clothing for Creators. Roll the tape.
If my life were a movie, the hero's big speech would end with, "Stop waiting, start creating." Because that's the drive behind my story. Like when I couldn't afford to finish film school. So instead, I started my own production company and gave myself a trial by fire YouTube business degree. And it's not just me with these kinds of stories. There is this growing movement of passionate, creative, flow state writing, hustling, persistent creators and entrepreneurs that are taking the internet and the world by storm.
Everybody told me I wasn't going to be able to make any money as an artist. Now, 15 years later, I've worked on 3 continents. I do own my house. My shop, I'm booked out 8 months ahead. I don't subscribe to being a starving artist.
Creativity and I are very deep, dark lovers. I've just decided I'm just going to make stuff. And even if it's not perfect, like, it's getting made.
You're going to think that there's right answers and there's not. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's just throw dye on it and it'll look great.
You don't need rules some old guy in a suit made up. You don't need anyone telling you that your voice doesn't matter. We are makers, creative types, side hustlers, doers. Why? Because we get shit done.
The most important thing every single day is just to get your shit done.
Just keep doing it, keep producing, keep creating, and as you do that, you're gonna start becoming the person that you want to be.
Don't be scared to try. Commit. You can't half-ass do something. We're full-ass around here.
So there's a film you need to make, a company you need to create, a voice you need to share, a product you know the world needs. Put all of yourself into it until anyone who has ever doubted you starts asking you for a job. Then you get to play for a living. You get to create community.
Partnerships, collaborations, building bonds with people that like the same stuff you like.
You get to live with your heart on your sleeve, a smile on your face, and a solid answer to when anybody asks, why do you do what you do?
Sometimes you have to say fuck all the rules to get something that you really need to get out of yourself.
You don't need the opinion of the old guy in the suit.
You have to give yourself permission to just go. A little less conversation, a little more action.
Clothing for Creators. Go check out snowmanfilms.shop today.
Hey there, fellow creatives. Conversations with Creators dives deep into the minds of successful filmmakers, artists, musicians, and all-around awesome people. We are looking for some kick-ass sponsors to help us keep this show on the road. If you want to reach a tribe of dedicated listeners who are just as passionate about creating as you are, then look no further. Our audience is full of people who appreciate a good laugh and are always on the lookout for new ways to fuel their creativity. So, let's team up and create some magic together. We'll work with you to make sure that your brand is showcased in the best light possible. And who knows, maybe we'll even become lifelong friends. Just imagine, years from now, we'll be reminiscing about the good old days when we first teamed up to take the world by storm. Send us an email at noah@snowmanfilms.net to say hey and get the ball rolling. Now back to the episode.
So there's a couple different concepts that I want to talk about on this. First of all those are awesome. That's totally true. I think a big part of it is once you find your path, sticking with that and not worrying about how the process goes is a huge thing. So not worrying, like as I said, it may lead you in a different way that you didn't even think about, and just being open to going with it. Another thing is, who here knows on YouTube Casey Neistat? He's one of the biggest YouTubers. His huge kind of piece of advice is just 3 words: just keep uploading, just keep at it, and you'll find your audience. Consistency is huge. And really you gotta open up. Like he said, be yourself, really let your emotion come out. Like lead with your heart on your sleeve. Cause that's how people really connect with you emotionally and see the kind of humanity within you. Another thing is when you even no matter how small the audience is, the one that actually keeps me going, because it is hard when you're constantly making stuff and one thing gets 800,000 views and the other thing gets 52 views, and you're like, what's going on here? It's the concept that 1 is greater than 0. Somebody is watching and you don't know who that person is. That person could be the producer of your next film. So just really sticking with it. And the engaging is also a huge thing. So no matter how small your audience is, if you are talking with them and if there's comments coming in and you're replying to them, like get a relationship going with your audience, because that's who's going to continue to be fans. And I have a bunch of notes because I have ADHD, so my mind just kind of starts going. With that audience, for future stuff, especially if you're making consistent like short form stuff, listen to what they're telling you. You know, if a bunch of people are asking for something, make that, because then you're going to be really making your audience happy and growing a really loyal fan base. And to get that out there, there's tons of tools with social media. You have Facebook groups for a whole bunch of things. Like I consistently share stuff to a couple Facebook groups, and that actually gets me work. That has, people, you build your brand and people kind of start knowing you for the thing you're doing. You need to introduce yourself and stick with it. And eventually that'll grow. And as Nancy was saying, influencer marketing. So, reaching out to other people that in your space that are, have very large audiences and maybe collaborating with them. It's kind of there's a bunch of ways to go about it. And the main thing is just to keep at it. Yeah.
Okay. To go keeping at it. We're just going to let one person answer this question.
Long-winded a bit.
Everybody wants to make money in this world. That's kind of cool. So let's go with Alexander. Once you start, how did you find your way into making money off of your work?
So I ended up meeting it. So I think it's a big thing with what goes on is connections. Kind of it's very connected.
Relationships
is huge. I had ended up, so my first feature film while I moved here to Denver was someone had offered me the opportunity. The interesting thing about that story is I met this person 4 years prior at a film festival, and at the time I only got official selections. I hadn't even won. And he was one of only 5 people that were in the screening room. There's more people in here now watching my trailer than there was watching official selections at New York International Film and Video Festival. No one came in the door. I was sitting there and I had, sweat in my armpits, and there was 3 people. It was cool. Thank you.
Exactly.
and it was great. But that guy that was sitting there happened to be a real estate guy from Montana. And come years later, I had met him in Los Angeles, and he said, "Hey, let's talk about stories." We were at a hotel. I started talking about doing a somewhat of a modern adaptation of Scorsese's first film, and he said, well, say I gave you $4,000, what would you do? I'm going to make you a movie. That's all I'm going to do. So then that's how it happened. And who would have known that? Would I have known that 5 years prior? Probably not. I didn't even think, I dreamed about making a feature film, but I never, at the time you don't think it's going to happen. But I think it's really connection based, and then from there, once you have product, once you have a brand,
exactly,
then you now have something to offer these folks. Distributors mainly is what we're talking about. Obviously for me it's a distributor, whether it be Amazon or someone independently. Online now you can make money on YouTube, you can make money on Vimeo on demand,
Patreon,
monetize video on YouTube.
There's a lot of ways to do it.
You're your own studio, and once you have product, which goes with consistency, now you're able to sell your product. You get contacted by a channel on Amazon, and now you're making $3 a view. And that's kind of how you generate that revenue. And it starts with who you know, what you're doing, and being consistent.
Preach.
We live in an evolving world, so kind of everything changes. We saw Vines come in, went out real quick. YouTube's kind of...
I think they were around for about 6 seconds.
Yeah, for 6 seconds. That's where the short attention span came from. So we're going to go ahead and talk about what you guys think the future holds for videos like this. What you think, what advice would you give these people for the future? What's the trends you see coming up? So if Nancy wants to start.
I just want to backtrack, just talking about, this does change this, but talking about being true to yourself, what you said. So I'm going to keep making videos, comedy, or, it doesn't have to be like dramedy, about women mostly in their 40s and older, because I just don't see a lot of that, the real gritty stuff, and I just think there's a lot of humor to it, and I just don't see enough of that. It's I want to give women something they can relate to, but in a humorous way. That's what I try to do with Mile High Nancy. And like the food broad, you know, it's like we don't all have perfect bodies, but I don't know, I just want to like have real people on my videos. So that's being true to me, and that's what I want to keep doing. You know, but like I had mentioned haul videos. So if you remember the Chewbacca mom,
Yes.
mask, she made
Best thing ever.
about $500,000 from doing it. She didn't plan on it, like she wasn't a haul vlogger at all. You know, it just was her laugh, her infectious laugh. And then Kohl's, where she got it from, was like, oh, we got a star here. And like she's gotten a lot of merchandise from them for free. And monetizing that video, like I said, $500,000.
I'm coming from a film standpoint, so in terms of the future, I think going back to what I say, I preach this a lot, anyone who knows me, we're seeing something really different happening right now in cinema. We're seeing the studios not knowing what's going on. We're watching Netflix not knowing what's going on. Netflix has been down in their subscribers in Q1. We're seeing Netflix scramble and cancel shows, original shows, and that's very serious. You have huge directors who are creating these shows, and they're being nixed by Netflix. And you're seeing Scorsese go to Netflix, and his film is not going to open in theaters. And anyone in here who is a Scorsese fan like me, who has not watched a Scorsese film in the theater first if you're a fan? I mean, it's never happened.
That's how you do it.
It's where he originated. He's kind of the he is the grandfather of cinema right now, and everything's moving to the television or to a tablet. And what we're going to see is we're seeing Hollywood and us not knowing what's happening. And I think through the scramble, my opinion is we're going to see the art house films, the films coming from people that have stories to tell about real people and people that are living their lives and struggling with certain things every day and talking about that, whether it be narrative, whether it be short form, whether it be in a vlog. You're going to see that live online and on direct distribution, and you're going to see the big money guys. You're going to see big Hollywood films with Channing Tatum blowing up half of a building and then dancing about it. And you're going to see that in the theater, and it's going to go for a while. It's going to be about 4 or 5 months that you're going to be able to get that new Star Wars movie in the theater, and it's going to be all about ticket sales. And it's going to be a very divided industry, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's something that probably will eventually, whether we like it or not, gets embraced. But obviously folks up here on this panel are embracing that, and careers are now growing out of that.
You have to be able to pivot. I think, honestly, I have the shortest answer for this ever. It's super simple. The future, right here. Mobile. It's going to be king. I mean, eventually laptops might even, there's CEOs of huge companies that don't even carry laptops anymore. So just knowing the space and creating for this.
It is king.
Yeah.
Already.
So this is going to be the question and answer part for these guys. So, oh wow, we already got something. Let's start.
I like it.
Yes.
So, do you guys do this full time? How do you transition from having a regular job to doing this full time?
Commitment. Yes, I do. I run my production company full time, and occasionally I do Uber to fill the gaps because you have to do what you got to do. But like 95% of my income is this, and it's just commitment. It's just what was it? Cortez is a conqueror, and he goes to these things, and when they get to places, they burn the boats because that's how much they want to make it happen. You have to burn what you want. You got to do it. That's the level of commitment you got to have to be able to succeed. Burn boats.
Tons of
and maybe film it in slow motion.
Burn all. We're stuck on the I work retail management. I've been a manager in retail for almost 2 years now. But yeah, film is full time. We're now working on our 4th feature film. With the directive, we've now had an interesting side comment. A 4K exclusive channel on Amazon wants to buy the rights just for the director because it was filmed in 4K. So that should tell you how different our world is now. They only want to buy the rights just to the 4K. You can do whatever you want with the standard def version, but I want people to watch it in 4K. And that's full time. It's a full time thing. Sometimes the money's not always there, and that goes back to persistence and passion and patience and never giving up on it. And eventually you'll make money. and it's gonna build. I mean,
Start small.
Yeah, look at it. Look at anybody. I mean, J.J. Abrams didn't wake up and make Star Wars. It started off small, started off in television. You may have had a little bit more connections, but it's still starting off at the very beginning. So it takes time, and eventually you're gonna get to where you want to be.
You, sir, gentleman in the red.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, would you say that there are any web analytics tools that you've used to help you further your understanding of your audience outside of engagement?
Yes.
Absolutely. You want to take it?
Yeah, that's actually why I left Vimeo. On that note, once again, I started off with very primitive internet online distribution. YouTube was all about cat videos. And
still is.
Funny or Die was beta, and these guys emailed me, and I was like, Funny or Die? You know, I read it in an email. That's a little old, right? And they said, hey, yeah, come on, you get to compete with these videos on this beta website. And at the time, I didn't even think it was that great. Yeah, sure. How do I upload it? And then now, they've got Hollywood actors on Funny or Die, and you don't want to get, so that goes into kind of more of the technical aspect. You don't want to get lost in the crowd. You want to stand out. The question is with what you're making, how do you stand out? And if it's films, do you want to get washed out on YouTube with cat videos? If it's on Vimeo, do you want a time-lapse video to get a staff pick and you not? You have to look at what's happening, what are your trends? This has been brought up here on the panel. What are your trends, and how do you stand out above those trends?
I think analytics-wise, just to answer, because I know you were you're searching for kind of tools on how to find stuff. So you have Google AdWords, which can basically show you an audience size. So for me, parkour has up to 1 million hits, 1 million searches a month. So anybody that's running an ad on that's going to be wildly successful. You have Facebook does crazy insights. Like you can figure out the age, location, gender, income level. Like you can go so deep with it and see which parts of your video are getting like the most traction. So I'd say pay attention to start uploading stuff and then watch those to see like what's doing the best and what your demographic is, and then kind of play into what that demographic is.
Can I really quickly, on Facebook, I just want to say, if you upload your video directly to Facebook, it works better on that platform. Facebook discourages, in a way, YouTube videos that are uploaded to it.
Use each platform the way it's supposed to be used.
Yeah. Upload directly to Facebook and put it up there.
Or upload to multiple.
Don't just put a link to YouTube, in my opinion.
Think about that conflict of interest between businesses.
Speaking of cast and crew, do you have a problem with keeping people engaged?
Sure.
Just kind of go away.
Of course.
That's a struggle with that, or with morales.
I'd say that that's a trust factor. I've got folks in this building right now that I trust and care about very deeply and very dearly. They become like a family circle. You put something on somebody and you have to trust them, and I think that's all about knowing the people that you're working with and building that relationship with them prior to going into whatever production.
And provide food for them.
Yeah. That seriously goes so far.
Are you able to monetize on Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo?
So there's some different things. So with YouTube monetization, it actually starts, you don't even get any money until you hit 10,000 views. So it's very hard to do that. So with Vimeo, you have Vimeo On Demand, which is a actual paid service that people will pay for your content. Facebook, you don't have a paid option yet, but it's, again, everything's changing. I could possibly see it happening, but Facebook's really where Facebook has like a 3-second rule where if somebody is on your video for 3 seconds, it counts as a view, which is why you see all the millions and millions of views, because it's just making me scroll and then go, oh, what's this? Watch for a second and then keep going, and that counts as a view. So YouTube obviously is the biggest one that pays people. Vimeo, you actually have to like create a specific, it's not available unless it's paid option. But again, if you can build an audience, that's another super good way to go about it.
I'm just thinking like, if my video ever went viral, what would happen to me would be that I would kind of like
less than you
out.
think, actually. So say you get 1 million hits. That's unless people reach out to you, possibly. So that's what happened to him. Was he, had something go viral? Some people contacted him. That's it. Basically, when you have something go viral, it gets more exposure to you, so you get more eyes on it. So if people want to work with you, they can reach out. But views are just views inherently. So sometimes you may have a viral video and it may go nowhere. It may just be like, oh, cool, I got 1 million views.
So how
on
do
to
you,
the next day.
That's why, like, how do you think about like keeping that audience
Absolutely.
there
Consistency.
on the million? Consistency.
So you have that, and then you say, maybe even, so that's where engaging can really help. So you have 1 million views, you're gonna have people commenting like crazy. If people are asking stuff or commenting, I love this part, and then just talk with them, start conversations and start reaching out, and you'll kind of figure out like what they liked, what they didn't like, how to move forward, like what specifically they liked about it that maybe you can repeat on the next one that's different. So it's all just breaking it down and really like figuring out what worked on it and how you can play into that and move forward.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was a big question that I had.
Yeah, of course.
What kind of camera do you recommend, or gimbal and stuff like that?
It really depends on. See you later. It depends on so for adventure, say, I have an FS700, because a big part of my style is super good slow motion.
Okay.
So I love that. But if you're doing adventure stuff or you need to move around, like a bigger camera might not be. So it's really just the kind of the budget you have, and then think about what you want to be doing and the kind of camera that's going to fit that the best. So 4K is important, that's good. If slow motion is important, that's good. If being able to be small and agile and like put it in a backpack is good, like there's so many options now at so many different price ranges that it's really like figure out before you even shop, think what is going to work, what are the key things that I need in a camera, and then search those, and you'll be able to get more options.
Because right now I have it set up with logo, intro, whatever, and then the video. Would you put like a clip at the beginning?
It's hard. I like putting even just a small logo in the beginning, just because that hits the brand right away. But again, as you see in the trailer, so say the most recent one to come out was Jumanji.
Right.
So they had like crazy action sequence for 5 seconds and then the title. So I would even say copy that. So like have movement, boom, and then so don't reinvent the wheel. See what's working and just kind of go to that.
Yeah. Sorry. I know Facebook marketing is really big right now.
Yeah.
Do you see anything else coming up that might overtake it? Because Facebook grows really detailed.
Exactly. Facebook, I think, currently is the best bang for your buck. It's cheap. It's if you need to put a little bit of money into it, but you can go so specific. You can go like, I want 40-year-old males in Minnesota, and that can reach it. You can like literally target to that. So with it's so specific. The audience that's going after that with an ad is going to be, you're going to be directly into the vein of the audience that you want. So it is, yeah. That, or if you can find a Google AdWords, so that's where it gets hard, because Google AdWords, if you want low competition, you want a lot of searches, low competition, and a low price. So like currently Parkour has up to 1 million searches a month. It has low competition and it's under $1 a click. So if you have a bit of a budget, even I haven't tried it out yet, but I just found that, so I was like, I need to use this. Basically, just kind of see what's out there, because otherwise you're wasting money. Yeah. There's so many people that are wasting money on just like generic, like people that are trying to go after millennials that are doing like an older generation style of thing. Like it's really just finding the specific audience. And that's where the consistency comes in. If you keep uploading and you keep, doing all the different platforms together, I'd even say if you want to build a brand, do YouTube, do Facebook, and do Vimeo separately with the same video. If you're not worried about all the views going into one place, if you want to get across everything, each one of those has a different audience. I didn't go too much into here, but I think YouTube personally is really more and more about education now. So if you're doing like adventure videos, Facebook's probably the best place to be, just because you go to YouTube to learn. Or watch gaming videos or whatever. It's education. So it's I would say just kind of see what works the best for what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think you have to stage. Yeah, of course.
Vlogging channel.
Yeah.
And me and my friend, what we're doing is like speaking challenges and stuff. But also, like you said, you need to like connect with your audience.
Yes.
How would you recommend that? Because like when I do my challenges, I try not to make them too long so I could still talk to them.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to talk to them.
Yeah. So actually, that's good. Vlogging is definitely still YouTube. Obviously, you have, people starting up vlog. So vlogging is another thing where Facebook and YouTube together.
Yeah.
And then share. I wouldn't say share YouTube to Facebook, just because Facebook likes it when you upload it and you can get information from there. But vlogging and education are what YouTube is. So just keep at it and just try and get out. Another thing is connecting with other vloggers. Huge thing. So reach out. Just see who's in. What do you vlog specifically about?
That's another thing. I'm trying to kind of figure that out.
You gotta figure it out, yeah. But that's the thing. You can that's where you can kind of go into multiple different categories and just see the different styles and try it out. And through the process, you'll see what you really like and what you're good at.
Okay.
And then just double down on that. Because then once you find that audience, you can be like, hey, you're another vlogger that gets 400,000 views, and just try to reach out to them on Facebook, on Twitter, on all these things. Okay. And say, hey, would you like to collaborate? And you may get a lot of no's, but you also may get that one yes that takes you to the next level.
Okay.
So just making stuff and then connecting with the audience, and then once you have a bit of an audience and you stay with that for a while, because if they see that you only have like 2 videos, they're like, oh, he just started, like he needs to get do some work. So do some work on it, find your niche, and then get that audience, and then influencer marketing, and just kind of. It's all about relationships, man. It's all about, as he said, he talked with one guy 4 years ago, and then he ended up, that's what happens. It's just, if you do the work and you don't worry about the recognition up front, and you just grind and just get it out and have fun with it, you're going to find it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, have a good day.
I will. You as well.